Well, hello there, everybody. Good to see you today. I am coming to you live, and I'm here to talk about one of my favorite things, and that is 4 things you need to launch or grow your career in major gifts. So if we haven't met yet, my name is Emma Lewzey. I'm at 𝗤𝗲𝗃 Philanthropy, and I help fundraisers and nonprofit leaders raise more 5, 6, and 7-figure gifts for their amazing missions. So before I dive in, I would love to know, take just a second and type below. Let me know if this is the first time you are watching my videos, and also let me know, what city are you watching from? I'm really curious to know that. And I'd love also, if you are catching up on the replay, welcome. Go ahead and drop the hashtag replay below. So while you do that, I am actually going to tell you about the time that I very nearly said no to a job offer that got me started on the path to a major gift career. So it was back in 2002. Let me know if you were fundraising with me back then too. Just post .com bubble burst, so we were in another recession, and I was in the interview process to manage my very first capital campaign at a local community center, and I got the offer and I got cold feet and I said no. So thank goodness, and I often look back at this and say, bless them for this. They actually saw my potential and were very persistent, politely persistent, in working with me to get me to say yes to that role. And thank goodness they did. And I don't know, this might sound a little bit like a fantasy story right now. I know we're in the middle of a pandemic. You may be struggling with layoff or furlough or job loss, but here is one thing that I do know: no matter what is happening in the world, perhaps especially when we're facing particularly big challenges, great fundraisers will always be in demand. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. So this is for you, whether you are just starting your major gift career and you want to launch it. This is for you if you've been at it for a while and you really want to grow it or take it to the next level. So I'm going to start off by talking about one of the things I think is most important, and that is to understand and develop the soft skills that you need as a major gift professional. Okay, and I wanted to start off with one of the most important ones, and that is curiosity. And this came to me actually last week because I was on a coaching call with a student, and we were talking a lot about questions, like what are good questions to ask when you're in a major donor meeting? What is your favorite question to ask? He actually asked me. Great question. And it's funny because it led me to thinking about what actually is the most important thing in asking donors great questions, and that is what underlies those great questions, and that is a true sense of curiosity, and that cannot be faked. Does that make sense? You can have all the great questions in the world, and I think you should have all the great questions in the world, but even more important is that underneath them, or that they come from, that true sense of curiosity. You really do truly want to know the answer to that question, and that's why you're asking, right? Having that soft skill of curiosity and cultivating curiosity will help you ask better questions, and it will actually help you be able to react and respond on the spot when you're in a donor meeting, because when you're coming from that true sense of curiosity, you are asking great questions because you truly do want to know the answer. You truly are curious about what motivates a donor's giving. You truly are curious about what might have inspired them to first get involved in this cause. So that's my first soft skill for you, is to think about curiosity and to really cultivate curiosity. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to cultivate those skills when I get to the end. I've got 3 soft skills I want to share with you. Now, if you're watching this, I also want you to do something for me. I want you to actually type in and let me know, before I tell you all my soft skills, what are the skills that you actually think are most important for major gift fundraisers? I truly am curious. I want to know, especially if you have a little more experience in this field, what skills do you see fundraisers bringing to major gift fundraising that makes them truly successful? Okay, so my soft skill number 2 is being optimistic even in the face of challenge. I've really been noticing this since we have, since the occurrence of the pandemic. I've really noticed that there is a stark difference between those fundraisers that cultivate a sense of optimism and those who may default to a more pessimistic standpoint. Fundraisers who cultivate optimism are generally, I find, more successful. I see them being more resilient in their work. I could talk to 2 fundraisers in exactly the same situation in terms of the challenges they're facing, in terms of some of the obstacles they have to tackle. And it's always the one that cultivates and works on their optimism that is going to be more successful. And the great news is this is something that can be developed, and it's something you should be working on developing as a major gift professional. So that's soft skill number 2 is being optimistic. Part of being optimistic is really seeing the opportunities that lie ahead, no matter what challenges you are grappling with. And let me tell you, it is those optimistic fundraisers who I believe right now are going to be most successful in the challenges we're facing during this pandemic. All right, and my soft skill number 3 is a little bit connected to this too. It is being persistent. It is such an important thing, and again, that is something that can be cultivated. I'm going to borrow a statistics from sales because it's my opinion that good fundraisers are also good salespeople. And I know that that is an unpopular opinion in some areas, but hear me out here. I believe that this is the case because when you look at good sales and good fundraising, they share one thing, and that is being able to build deep and powerful relationships. So that's why I think good sales and good fundraising actually share more in common than they don't. Anyway, I digress, because what I did want to talk about is borrowing a statistic from sales and looking at the importance of persistence in terms of closing a gift as it pertains to us as major gift fundraisers. Most folks give up after 3 to 4 attempts at reaching a lead. And it generally tends to take anywhere between 7 and 8 tries. So here's the thing, if you stay persistent, you're actually going to stand out from the crowd, and you're going to be more successful in your work as a major gift fundraiser. And you ultimately are going to be more successful at closing more gifts because you are persistent and you hang in there longer than a lot of your colleagues do. Respectful persistence, I think, is the key word there. So if you're respectfully persistent, you really do have a soft skill that you need to be successful as a major gift fundraiser. I'm going to talk about how to cultivate these soft skills because these do not have to be inborn talents. And I think one of the most important things you can do in terms of cultivating a soft skill is really being self-aware. So start noticing, right? Start noticing, what does it feel like when you're being truly curious? How does that feel in your body? What does it look like when you start being more optimistic and start cultivating more optimistic thoughts about your work and thoughts about the possibilities that lie ahead for you, both in your fundraising career, but also possibly within your organization, the fundraising possibilities that may still be here despite the challenges that we're facing during this pandemic. So I really want to say to think about that idea of just cultivating skills like these and starting with self-awareness, which is really just noticing Notice when these things happen. Notice what curiosity feels like. Notice when those pessimistic thoughts pop up in your head and try and reframe them to take a bit more of an optimistic attitude, and just be really reflective around how persistent you are in your work. Are you in fact giving up after 2 to 3 tries of trying to reach a donor, or 2 to 3 tries of doing anything in your fundraising work? Can you cultivate that soft skill of being more persistent? So go ahead, let me know if you have any extra soft skills you think are more important or equally important as those 3 that I mentioned: optimism, being persistent, and also curiosity. I want you to go ahead and drop those below for me. I'm going to take a sip of my water, because I've been talking a lot today. All right, number 2, I wanted to talk about the importance of building your track record for closing gifts. So this can seem like a bit of a conundrum if you don't have a lot of experience with major gifts. It's sort of that thing where you're like, well, I don't have experience closing gifts, so how can I get a job where I am having the opportunity to close major gifts? So I want to recommend 2 different ways that you can look at this, especially if you're at the beginning of your career and you really want to launch a career around major gifts. The first is you can look at starting, for example, in a more junior position in a larger shop and working your way up through that hierarchy. Often larger shops tend to be a little more hierarchical, and just looking for mentors and opportunities along the way, for example, to shadow folks with more experience. Just jump in anytime you can get in on a meeting with anyone who's involved with major gifts, to see if you can find that mentor and go along and just see how things are done. That's a great way to learn. So that's way number 1. Way number 2 is my own personal bias, just in terms of the way I operate, but something I really recommend is to not overlook those opportunities to work at a smaller shop as a fundraising generalist. So that was my preferred route, and it really was a great opportunity in a lot of ways to do 2 things. One is to start building that track record of closing gifts, even at a smaller shop. I guarantee you, if it's a smaller shop that has done some work on developing that individual donor base, I guarantee you that there are folks already giving to your organization who have the capacity to make a major gift. So you have the opportunity, if you join a smaller shop, to actually do that work yourself and to close a gift like that at a smaller shop. I think the benefit number 2 of being a generalist at a smaller shop, in addition to be able to build your own pipeline, identify prospects, and close gifts there, perhaps more quickly than you may even be able to at a larger shop. One of the benefits of this is you're going to be developing a great generalist skill set. I found this really helpful when I transitioned into specializing in major gifts, because it really helped me understand how all of the different departments work together in fundraising, how, for example, annual giving and major gifts can work together. So having that really strong foundation, strong generalist foundation, helped me be much more effective major gift fundraiser when I started specializing there. So those are 2 ideas that you can use if you're kind of stuck and you know you need to develop your track record around closing gifts. I think really considering moving into a smaller shop in a more generalist role, where you can build something out, build out a fundraising program, and actually identify prospects and close major gifts there. Great experience, and also helps build your generalist fundraising experience too, which I think is a tremendous asset when you're moving into a major gift specialist role. So that's my tip number 2, is work on building that track record of closing gifts. Folks really want to see that during the interview process. I think I've been to a lot of different interviews for major gift roles, and absolutely this has been one of the biggest questions, I'm sure, in your experience too. They want to hear all of the different specific examples of types of gifts you closed and how that worked. So my tip number 3 for you is to go ahead and try and take every opportunity that you can to work with leadership volunteers. I think working with leadership volunteers. When I say that, I mean board members, I mean cabinet members, I mean senior major gift volunteers. So I believe this remains a crucial skill, especially at larger shops, and especially if you're interested in working on capital campaigns. A great way to do this at a smaller shop or at a shop of any size, if you have access to your board, is really to take every opportunity you can to work with your board, to get to know your board. You could even sit in on board meetings or committee meetings if you're just starting out in your career, just to start understanding how that works. If you are more senior and you have access to your board in a more senior fundraising role, I really do recommend getting to know them, especially it's a great opportunity if you're starting out in a new role. I will often like to do a bit of a mini stakeholder interview process with my board members that I'm just getting to meet, just to understand what motivates them, why they got involved with the organization, where they see the fundraising opportunities ahead of us, what some of the challenges they've been experiencing are. This can be a really powerful way to get to know your board. Whether you're new or not, actually, you can even do this and take the opportunity to say, well, you know what, these are unprecedented times. You know, we're going to need to make some changes. We're going to need to pivot. And I really want to get the board's input. I want to get the board's feedback about what this might look like. What's most important for us right now? So there's a great opportunity for you, I think, just to develop a bit of a track record, again, of working with senior volunteers. This will serve you very well in your major gift career. And again, gives you the opportunity to give specific examples of when you have worked with senior leadership volunteers, when and how you have demonstrated your managing up skills, also something very important in in growing your major giving career, for sure. Okay, and finally, I wanted to talk about the importance of understanding, and being able to articulate the process that you followed to close a gift. I think one of the most tough interviews that I was ever a part of, it had many stages. I think I was probably at the 4th stage at that point, and I was meeting with the CEO, my boss, and one of the senior volunteer leaders, one of the board members. And they really digging deep around understanding my process to close gifts. So it was not enough that I said I had lots of examples of closing big gifts, but what they really wanted to know was the how. Right? What they wanted to see was that I actually drove a clear process, that I understood that there was a process underpinning closing those gifts. So they dug really deep into that. I have to say that was a standout interview, because it's not necessarily every interviewer that understands the importance of that. So they put me through my paces. They had a lot of questions about that. I'm very happy. I must have met their standards because I did get the job, but they were very interested in how I would articulate the process, or more specifically, the exact steps that I took in every single occasion that I closed the gift. So they were looking for particular things along the way. They were looking for me to have an understanding of the fact that good major gift fundraising is in fact underpinned by processes and systems. So this is something that we in fact may sometimes resist as fundraisers and as major guest professionals, because we're very focused on the relationship, right? We're very focused on building a strong relationship. And that feels like something, it can feel authentic to people sometimes when I talk about process in conjunction with relationship building. But I want to leave you with this, is that relationship building and a relationship with donors is such an important part of your work. It's too important to leave to chance, which is why you need to have a strong process and a strong system to underpin your work. And it really helps build trust with the donor because it ensures nothing's going to fall through the cracks. It's going to ensure that you are taking excellent care of every single one of your donors. And it's actually a big weight off of your mind and off of your shoulders, knowing that there is a clear process for you to follow to help you close those gifts. I have to say, when I discovered this, it was a weight off of my mind, and it was actually, fundraising became a lot less stressful because it became clear to me, okay, right? I know that there is a clear process and there's a clear way to be successful in approaching this work. And being able to articulate that will really make you stand out from the crowd if you are in an interview process. All right, my friends, I think those were all of the tips I wanted to talk about. If this is something that you want to delve deeper into, if your curiosity was a little bit piqued when I was talking about the processes that underpin great major gift fundraising, you are going to want to check out my program. It's called Major Gift Master Plan. And in it, I teach a clear step-by-step system for you to land more 5, 6, and even 7-figure gifts for your amazing mission. I am opening doors again in September for the very last time until 2021. I have more information on my website, and you can sign up for an early interest list there. Go ahead and visit 𝗤𝗏𝗃philanthropy.com to find out more about that. I so hope you have found my tips on growing and launching and being more successful in your major gifts career helpful. I'd love to hear from you. Please go ahead and let me know what you think. Drop any follow-up questions that you have for me below. And thank you, if you've been watching live, for taking the time to spend with me this afternoon. I really, really appreciate it. All right. Best of luck, folks, and stay in touch. I look forward to seeing you again next time.